going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I am here with my trusty producer, Rochelle.
Hello.
How are you?
Cool shades.
Thank you. I don't often wear my sunglasses inside. That wouldn't be cool. Except that we have a new friend of show.
Yes.
Jade Black. And I gotta say, I will say this about me. I like wearing new things that I love immediately.
Yes.
Even if it's like a winter coat in the hot summer days.
You'll still wear it?
Well, like I'll put it on and I'll be like, oh, I probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
And I just got these and I'm quite enjoying them.
I really like those.
How do I look?
Really good.
Thank you.
And how much are they?
They're $49. What? And they're even less expensive with our code.
Nice.
But listen, tell us a little bit about our friends at Jade Black. I do know that they are made with amazing material.
Yeah, they're made with Italian acetate, which is the same thing found in brands like Gucci, Ray-Ban, YSL, and on and on. But they were just frustrated that these sunglasses were costing over $150,
Why?
which makes sense because they're so overpriced. So they set out to make really high quality eyewear at a price we can all afford.
Yeah, here are the same sunglasses as Gucci.
Yeah.
For a fraction of the price. And then thank you for saying the word acetate for me because I wasn't 100% sure how to pronounce that.
Anytime you need me to say something, I'll say it. But they come in these great cases and they have a quiz online that you can take if you're not sure which sunglass is the best fit for you.
I'll tell you what, I tried on 3 of theirs. They all looked great.
Yeah.
And I feel like these are super in. They have a very, they feel very sturdy.
That's
right?
what I thought too.
They fit my face.
And guess what? The lenses are polarized and anti-reflective.
I'm also wearing them inside. I don't traditionally like sunglasses, but I can see quite nice.
Yeah, because they're polarized.
I can see quite nice. If you want to get an amazing pair of sunglasses at an incredibly affordable price for less than $49 with my code, gift. I feel like Jade Black is exactly what you need to be doing.
Or if you want to get someone a good gift for the holiday season that they haven't heard about, this is a good.
Definitely think about other people. Sorry, I'm thinking about you guys, my listeners. But yes, you get them the most expensive, high quality sunglasses.
Yes,
save a few bucks on your own. So go to jadeblack.co and use the code VIALL-10 to get yourself 10% off your purchase and a chance to win one of 15 AirPod Pros. That is amazing. Again, www.jadeblack.co and use the code VIALL-10 for 10% off your purchase.
Do you like my glasses?
I do. You look like a badass with those.
So do you. Thank you.
Embark. I love that our audience is getting Embark, and
this is our hottest ad for sure.
They're starting to post the results on our Instagram page.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating. Again, we talked about how when I found out about my ancestry,
take her glasses off.
But it was such a conversation starter. I can't imagine what it's like for your pet.
Right.
Like my parents have all these dogs, and like they don't, especially Wyatt, my mom's little dog.
Yeah.
No idea what this dog is.
You should get her Embark for Christmas.
Now I'm thinking this out loud.
You got to.
My mom's gonna absolutely love it.
She's gonna die.
He's gonna die. Hopefully not. No, I mean, listen, like you always learn a little bit of information about your dog. What kind of breed it is, what percentage of it is it. You don't have to be like, well, I don't know, I think he's so-and-so. I mean, rescue a dog. You should all rescue dogs. But when you rescue a dog, you have a little less information maybe about their history.
Yeah.
This will help you out. In addition to the fun conversation starter it is about knowing about, what kind of breed your dog is, you also get health information about your dog, how old they are. Right?
Yeah.
What kind of maybe things that are at risk of developing over the years so you can be proactive rather than reactive. It's an amazing gift and people are loving it. Well, fear not, people. Embark has an exclusive holiday offer you can't get anywhere else. Go to embarkvet.com now and use promo code VIALL to save 15% off your dog DNA test kit. Visit embarkvet.com and use promo code VIALL to save.
So I have a question. Sometimes people ask me questions about you. Ooh. Can I ask you one? It's not that personal. So one of our 10%ers who was a former asknick, he's now dating this girl that he was talking to online. You encouraged him to just ask her out to say, I don't want to be your pen pal anymore. I want to meet up. Okay. Now he's dating her. So he's like very indebted to you.
They're dating?
Yeah.
I remember him.
Yeah. He's like, Nick, it's the best. But he wants to know what you eat because he says you look so good for your age. He's like, I bet a lot of other people want to know too.
I don't. I mean,
Do you eat really healthy?
Nah, not really. I hate to say that.
What? It is a deal with the devil.
I listen. As I get older, I've definitely become more conscientious. Fuck.
Close. So close.
As I get older, I become more aware of what I put into my body. I have a vegetable smoothie every morning.
Every morning. See, that's.
I blend spinach, a banana, blueberries, a little bit of orange juice. I don't really need the orange juice because that's like sugar I don't need, but I put a little flavor in it. Ice.
What kind of blender
and celery.
do you have?
I have a Ninja.
Oh, nice.
And I drink that, and I drink the whole pitcher.
Celery. People say celery is like superfood.
Good for you. And
the whole pitcher?
I drink the whole pitcher.
Oh, God.
And it's I drink that every morning.
And you don't drink a lot.
Water or alcohol?
Alcohol.
I do not drink a lot of alcohol.
Yeah, that probably helps.
Listen, everything in moderation. I try to not eat sugar.
Try to not eat sugar.
No sugar in coffee. Like all the things I have a sweet tooth, man. Like I love sugar.
Yeah.
But it's sugar kills you.
Yeah.
Sugar, soda, sugar. I don't eat any diet stuff like Diet Coke. No diet stuff. Like listen, if you that stuff's terrible for you.
Okay.
It'll
well,
rot your insides.
You heard it here first.
I also have been blessed with a high metabolism, but
but you work out a lot.
I work out a little bit every day.
A little bit every day.
Shavings, makeup. I do.
You really do.
I don't work out more than 45 minutes a day.
Really? Smart.
But when I do,
every single day?
Yeah. I don't like going to the gym because I don't like wasting that time.
Yes.
So I either use I just work. I try to do it right away. I go run for a little bit, or I'll do like plyometrics, or I'll box outside. I have
use an app. Oh yeah, you box. Yeah.
And I just try to get a workout, a sweat. I'm gonna try to get the blood going. And I don't like pump iron. You don't. I lift weights, but I'm not like you know what I'm saying. I'm not some sort of like
that's pumping iron.
Moderately,
Yeah.
It's really just a little bit.
Moderate lifestyle.
It's a little bit each day. It goes a long way.
Okay, and then one other question, and I'm only asking this because she's emailed me a couple times, and last time she sounded a little upset. She wants to know, on The Bachelor, do you get an itinerary of where you're going? Do you know where you're going to be traveling to, or is it all last minute?
It's all last minute. Especially if you're like part of the cast, and even as the lead.
They don't tell you?
No.
Oh.
They tell you find out before them, but they want an authentic reaction.
Oh. That's
they want to tell you when you're on camera for the first time. So you go, I've never been to Finland. This is so cool. It's that is why they do that. Yeah. It's not just to fuck with you. They want authenticity.
Yeah. Thank you for indulging.
And that has been Ask Nick about his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keep those. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe should we start doing
a couple questions?
Especially with my questions with Nick or Ask Nick, it's always ask me questions that I can help you answer.
Right.
Less Bachelor stuff, but if maybe we will do.
I know I had to sneak that.
I mean, it's fine. I feel like we've even that. I feel like I've answered that somewhere.
This woman really wanted to know.
Okay. Well, now you know. I feel like it's not that exciting, but okay. Hey, if it makes you guys happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
what?
When we said the fan name was Wi-Fi, some people, we got kind of a negative reaction. We were talking Wi-Fi as like Wi-Fi, V-I-F-I.
What did they think we were going to do?
People kept thinking it was Vi-Flies.
What? Okay, if it was, is that bad?
Vi-Flies? I don't know. People didn't like it. So other options are the V-Hive.
Oh, because like the Beehive won't get on our ass for that one. Ripping off Beyonce.
Or people said filers. So I don't know. Weigh in if you're listening.
Give us your Vi-Hives. What's wrong with
V-Hives?
The V-Hives. It's like really ripping. I mean, do we have that Beyonce clout? I don't know, man. I feel like, what's wrong with Wi-Fi's? What was the problem?
I don't know. People were just like, they seemed not excited. So I just wanted to put it out there.
You guys really want to be filers?
I like filers.
I mean, hey, listen, it's whatever. I mean, you guys let us know.
Yeah, let us know.
We just want to make a t-shirt for you. Well, we have another fantastic episode.
Yeah, let's get to it.
I think you're going to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, guys, by the way. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@chaosmedia.com. And we could use some probably 5 stars.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could. I don't look, but I would really someday we'll get back up to 5 stars.
Yeah.
Anyways, enjoy this episode, guys. I love you all.
Question time with Nick. Let's ask Nick your sexy questions.
How's it going?
Pretty good. My name's Annalise. I'm 22.
Hi, Annalise.
Hi.
How can we help?
Hi, how are you guys?
Pretty good. Thanks for asking.
See, you do get asked.
By our callers, not necessarily some of our guests. How can we help, Annalise?
Okay, so I sent like a ridiculous long email, so I'll like shorten it.
There we go.
My whole life I've had like a super complicated relationship with my mom.
Okay.
Basically from the time I was born.
Uh-huh.
She kind of wanted like the cheerleader, ballerina daughter, and I just like wasn't that. And throughout like high school, college, like we just had a really, really complicated relationship. And we just fought, like just constant fighting, just constant, like I wasn't really enough, just constant, like I just was never really the daughter that she kind of like imagined herself having. And I'm the only girl out of 2 boys and I am the oldest. So like, obviously the oldest is like the test subject of all the kids. So my parents were kind of just like winging it as they went with me.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was so lucky to have like the best dad and the best brothers in the world. Just like my mom, I've always had like a really hard issue with. And recently my brother, who is like my best friend in the whole world, he left for the army. And so like my person, like I've always had, is gone. And I don't really like have that person to confide in. And like the person that like really, really like gets me when it comes to my mom is like gone. So I was just kind of like, my question was like, how do I like deal with her? How do I deal with such a, like, I can't just cut her out of my life. I've tried. We went like a year without talking.
You tried to put your mom out of your life?
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't talk for a whole year? Oh.
Yeah, we didn't talk for like a year and a half.
Who initiated that?
In a sense, she kicked me out, but she didn't really like have the power to kick me out because like
How old were you?
I was 19.
Okay.
You were living at home?
I was living at home, yeah, and like she doesn't work, so she like didn't really have the power to kick me out. So my dad was like, "You don't have to go. Like you can stay here as long as you want." But my mom was like, "You have to go."
So your
so
parents,
I left. Like,
but your parents are like they're married. They're still together.
Yeah. My parents, like it's a really complicated situation. Like my dad, like my parents have separated over like me before. Like my dad has left her. Like my brothers have left before. Like it's because of my mom. She just has tended like over the years to be like a really complicated person to deal with. My dad doesn't believe in divorce though. He's like a really, really like hardcore Catholic.
Okay, sure.
And so he just like they've separated and they've always just like they've just worked it out.
What was the reasoning that your mom wanted to kick you out?
So I went away to college for a year and some stuff happened and it's just like, it just wasn't like the scene for me. It was like a really small town and I'm from Chicago and I'm from like a bigger city. And like, I went to this school called SFA, which is in this town called Nacogdoches, Texas, which is like the smallest like town in the world. And it's like, it just like wasn't the place for me.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, again, like she really, really has always like tried to live her life vicariously through me because like there were a lot of things that she didn't get to experience when she was my age. So like it just blew up when I decided not to go back. And I was just like, in her eyes, I've just always been like the biggest disappointment possible. And like she's told me that. Like sure. It's not just like me being like, oh my gosh, like no, like she's told me that. So like it just like that's where it all like came to a head.
So you were
And,
living at home, but you didn't talk for a year. You were living.
No,
in
no,
the
no.
same
I was
space?
living at home, and that's where it came to a head.
Yeah.
And that's where she pretty much like told me I had to leave.
Okay.
So I left. I figured it out. I just moved out. I got a place with some roommates for a year, and like I kept in contact with everyone except my mom. Like, and that's where like my brother has been my best friend my whole life. I kept in contact with my dad. I kept in contact with everyone.
What are your brothers? So you have two other brothers. You have your one brother you're very close with, who's now serving in the military, and then your dad.
Yeah.
And you have another brother.
Yeah.
When you are exiled, so to speak, by your mother, like what conversations are they having with your mom?
Basically, like it was really hard for me to leave them there because basically, like so my dad travels a lot for work.
Okay.
So I kind of like left my brothers in this like ticking time bomb of like my mom like just getting ready to like explode on them at any moment. So like that was really hard for me because like I just left. I felt like I kind of like stranded them there. And it was just kind of like this like tiptoeing around each other for a really, really long time.
What's their relationship with your mom?
I guess it's like I guess it's civil. I guess everyone's relationship with her is pretty civil. I mean, none of us by any means have like a really close relationship with her. None of us go to her for anything.
What are your, so I guess, because you're painting this picture of, you know, it's quite honestly hard for me to relate and because it sounds a bit tragic. And so I am sorry you're going through this, but what is your hope, I guess, because it sounds like you've come to grips with like your mom is just kind of a nightmare and like no one really gets along with her, including your brothers and your dad. And then you have a slightly more contentious relationship with your mom because of this projection of like you not being the daughter she wanted to be.
Yeah.
But I guess I get it that you haven't given up on maybe having a relationship with your mom. Is that true? Or what is your hope, I guess? What are you trying to, at this point, what do you really want? Is it just stability with your brothers and your father? Is it the hopes of a relationship with your mom? Like, what's your goal?
I guess like truly, I don't really know what I want when it comes to my mom. A lot of it I do for my dad and my brothers because it truly just like kills my dad that like there's not like stability for all of us. And I know that it's like harder on him than any of us. So like any effort that I do make, it really is like for them. So truly for me, like I actually don't know what I want when it comes to my relationship with my mom. I know that like I for sure don't want to like just like cut her off because I am young. I mean, I'm only 22 and like I do have hope that like I guess she'll like maybe come around one day.
Yeah.
And like I am so young that like I do want to have a family one day and I don't want like my kids one day to be like why don't you talk to your mom, you know, like stuff like that. So I guess like I know that I don't want to like completely cut her out of my life, but I guess like my main question is like where do I even start? Like I don't even know like where to start to like,
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me because I've been very blessed with parents I've always had a pretty good relationship with. I mean, there are, no parents are perfect, and certainly as I've gotten older, even the perfect parents always just kind of fuck up their kids a little bit in some way. Like even if you have amazing parents, it's just every parent's projecting a little bit, and then you kind of grow up and you're just like, man, my parents, they taught me some crazy ass shit back when I was a kid, So like you're not alone there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That being said, I've always had a really great relationship with my family, and you're telling the story of what sounds to be incredibly toxic. I mean, your mom sounds very toxic, quite honestly. I mean, I guess we're only getting your side, so to speak, but she sounds fairly miserable. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so there's only so much you can control when it comes to her, in your case, for your own, mental health or just happiness, I think maybe you just kind of have to get to a point. And again, I say this not being really able to relate to you and know what you're going through, is, try to just focus on what you do have. And while it sucks that your brother is overseas, hopefully you from time to time can still communicate with him. I'm assuming you also have like friends, and while he is your closest person, it's always, you always kind of reconnect with, as you grow older, your brother will always be your best friend, means your brother, right? But you'll maybe form closer relationships with friends too, and just kind of connect with them and find the people in your life to kind of fill the void that your mother unfortunately isn't happening. And when it comes to your mother, what can you do? I mean, it might just be one of those things where you just have to let her know that you're not going to back down. My grandma, who just passed away, RIP, wonderful grandmother, but my mom and her had a somewhat contentious relationship. And I kind of remember now as I've gotten older, but when I was younger, and my grandma was very controlling and very good at shaming and very kind of, in her own way, manipulative with my mom. It was kind of back in the day. I feel like that's kind of how mom did.
My mom had the same relationship with her mom.
Yeah, and it was just, I remember as a young kid, a lot of fighting between my grandma and my mom. And, my mom loves my grandma, and they were very close in my adult life. But I think sometimes parents are used to the power they have over their kids. And so kind of their playbook is to kind of judge and shame, because it's like, well, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now that you're an adult, she probably, she's only a few years removed from, the 15, 14-year-old, 16-year-old girl that she was still very much the mother of. And I think not knowing your mother, or like kind of this very interesting dynamic, it might just be over time her having to decide, do I want a relationship with my kids or not? Because my daughter clearly this is who she's going to be. And then I think it's kind of always putting your foot down with your mom, saying, you can either accept me for who I am and love me, or you are not. But this is who I am, and not allow her to make you feel guilty or shame. I wouldn't ever put up with it. I wouldn't listen to the criticism or judgment that she throws your way. If there's backhanded backhanded like just things she says or little digs, I wouldn't allow it. I would stand your ground. And I think, in a way, I mean, you're kind of describing, and I apologize if I'm being harsh, you're describing your mom's a bit of a bully, and regardless if it's your mom or not, the only way to kind of face a bully is to let them know that they can intimidate you. Were
you happier the year you weren't talking to her?
Yeah, honestly, I feel really bad when I like say things like that, but my dad has asked me that before. He's like, well, you see, like now you guys are talking, and like it's not like we're talking, like we keep it very cordial.
Sure.
We see each other, and it's just like, hey, like how have you been, like blah blah blah. He's like, well, see, like aren't things better this way? And I'm like, I mean, in all honesty, no.
Yeah.
I truly was happier the year that like I didn't talk to her. I
think you have to do what makes you the healthiest mentally, and so you can live your fullest life and not worry so much. Your dad will be sad, and that's unfortunate, but you, at the end of the day, you have to do what's best for you.
If anything, I just kind of, to echo what Rochelle said, I don't try not to feel like this is your cross to bear,
right,
or your burden, or like that somehow you're responsible to make the family okay.
Yeah,
I would remind yourself that this family drama that might feel almost like your fault, because you know what I'm saying? Like it's not. I mean, clearly your mom is, based on what you're telling us, a bit of a, I don't know, she's kind of a nightmare.
Well, she sounds like she
bitch.
feels bad about herself, so then she's projecting that onto her daughter.
Yeah, like whatever the reason, it's just not your fault.
Yeah.
And so it's not your cross to bear. And if you want a relationship with your mother, by all means, work on that. But don't feel like it's your responsibility. And other than just being sad about not having a relationship with your mother, which everyone obviously would want, it sounds like you've made it clear you want one, and she's made it clear that she wants it only on her very strict terms, and that is being literally a different person and doing everything that she wants. I mean, at this point, you're an adult. You have the right to do whatever the fuck you want. And, your parents, I'm sure, as all parents do, for the 18 years you're in your house, they're certainly going to try to mold you the way they hope that you are, and hopefully they give you good morals and whatever. And sometimes they, like we talked about, kind of overstep their boundaries. But once you're an adult, it's kind of like, it's on you. Now it's your life to mold for yourself. And hopefully everyone is lucky enough to have parents that their parents at the end of the day will just love them, for who they decide to be. But, unfortunately that's not always the case. but it's not your burden. And I just try not to feel like you have to cross that, bear that cross. I just think, what you can do with your mom, I'm not going to be that much help other than the fact that I think you should stand your ground and recognize that your mom's a bit of a bully and treat and respond the way you would any bully.
Well, I struggle with my relationship with my mom too, and I think it's because her mom treated her so poorly. But so I'm in therapy and I work on like setting boundaries. I'm like, Mom, I won't let you talk about like my body or my weight. Like that's just, you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to talk about my career in a negative way. Like I've tried to set boundaries, and then like she constantly just ignores the boundaries that I set. So then you have to go back and reevaluate. But boundaries are a really good tool when you're working with your mom. But if she's not responsive, then it's in one ear and in your own, like just right out the other.
How do you deal with that when you try to do like the right thing of setting your boundaries, and you're like, I mean, again, you can speak to this much better than I can in terms of like, how do you persevere knowing that you have this desire to have this relationship with your mom at the same time? Deep
desire. Like for me, cutting my mom out would like destroy me because I don't know why. I just like couldn't, like I'm starting to cry just thinking about it. Like I could never do that. And like I've worked, like I keep trying to talk to her and explain to her, and I do think she's starting to understand more when I talk to her, which for me is good. Like I think you have definitely a more extreme example, but like my therapist always reminds me that she's doing the best she can. This is truly the best she can, and that she does love you, and she thinks she is doing the right thing for you. So it's like I love her in spite of maybe the harmful comments that she makes about me. But
oh, that's tough.
It's very tough. It's very tough. So I really feel for you.
Yeah, and she's like, and my mom is just like her mom.
Yeah, so, like, exactly. It's just passed on trauma.
With, like the way,
yeah.
I mean, my mom, I love my mom, but I will say, like, I mean, certainly my mom has some of my grandma in her.
Right?
My mom's not a shamer though. She's very accepting and loving, but there's again, no parent are even the perfect ones aren't perfect.
Exactly.
But yeah, I feel for you, and obviously it makes me feel lucky to have the parents I have, but it's tough. I mean, I couldn't
I'm
imagine.
so lucky, like where my mom faults, like I truly have the best dad and the best brothers in the world.
And so
like,
and that's obviously not everyone is lucky to even have that. And stay close with your brother as much as you can while he's serving the military. Tell him thank you for us, by the way. And maybe it's a good chance to connect with your other brother. Yeah. Just try to find bonds in your life. You're going to have various relationships. And don't feel like you're trying to replace the one with your mom too. I mean, I don't know. Again, maybe like you're better at speaking this than I am in terms of, is it more just about acceptance, kind of you're saying? Like
acceptance, but also like not letting her, I won't let her talk to me in a certain way anymore because it really affects me negatively. So it's a combination.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What I mean by accepting.
Yeah, it does really like affect, because like I've let her talk to me so poorly for such a long time.
So then you start talking.
Like I would let other people talk to me poorly for such a long time. And then like I would stay in relationships where I was talked to so poorly for such a long time just because like I was like, well, like this is normal. Like this is how people talk to me. And like for such a long time, like I thought that was normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. And what I meant by acceptance is the, like I said, the cross to bear of like accepting that this is the relationship you have.
Exactly.
And
she's not evil.
She's not evil and not trying to do more than you even like. There's only so much you can do. And I'm assuming that early on, and maybe you feel like you are overcompensating and trying to, you're doing like 90%. It feels like maybe you were trying to do 90% of the relationship with your mom, like, and that's what I mean, accepting that like, there's only so much you can do, and then not feeling that burden or because I feel like that, not having done it, I feel like that can be very heavy.
Yeah. And I love what Nick said, like, it's not your responsibility to keep the family together. Yeah. So gotta let that go.
And then your family loves you, your mom in her own obviously way, but it's tough. I feel for you, but stay strong and try not to lift weight that is not yours to lift. Yeah. And over time, I think
Yeah, who knows? People change.
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's your mom. Yeah, you're only 22, so like your mom, like Rochelle's older than you, and she's still working on
Yeah.
that relationship. And I can tell you, my mom's relationship with her grandma. I mean, it wasn't maybe until that even changed. My mom's relationship with my grandma was different when she was 22. Very much when she was 40 and 50, and it's
exactly.
It
That's kind of like
evolves.
my temptation, just to like cut her off right now. Like it'd be so easy to just like cut her off and just like let it be what it is. But I am so young and she is still young.
But you can't.
Like
don't think of it as cut off. Sometimes maybe think of it as like a timeout space, keep that window and door open, but just don't feel like you have to put yourself in a toxic environment.
Exactly.
And keep the doors open and just say, like, I just need to remove myself temporarily from this thing because it's not, because right now it's not a healthy thing. Maybe in the future,
Yeah, that makes sense.
So. Well, thanks for calling and thanks for sharing. I know it's tough, but we appreciate it, and best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, parents.
Tough.
Oh, parents will fuck you up, man.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not a parent. I hope to be, obviously, but like even in LA, they'll with social, you see everyone's parenting methods, and in LA, it's certainly a little bit more progressive, and it's just like, and then. Some of the new parenting styles, you think that maybe that's a better way, and then sometimes you wonder, man, is this parent going too far? And it's it's like, but we as parents, man, it's you can just basically try not to fuck up your kid.
Yeah.
And even then, it's hard. It's hard to be a parent. I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I think, kind of to your point, all parents are trying to do what they think is best.
I that's what my therapist always says, like everybody's doing their best. Yeah.
And sometimes their best just is misguided and wrong, and that comes from years of I mean, like in the grandma before them.
I know, who knows?
God only knows, but and it's tough because as kids, I mean, I revered my parents, and we all do, that's and it's so hard to think of your parents in a different way and accept that maybe they're not the deities that you once thought they were, but yet they still are your parents, and there's a level of respect you should and always have, but like, not disappointing that. I don't know.
I know.
And I've been very lucky, and I don't forget that while my parents not perfect, they truly they've never made me feel like I didn't have their love and acceptance, and that's I'm very lucky to have that, because I know that's not always the case. Rochelle?
Yeah.
I think you have a bit of a shoe problem. I'm noticing you're buying all these Rothy's. It's getting out of control. It's getting out of control.
It's addicting.
You do look great, though.
Oh, thank you. Because they're so comfortable, and I'm a comfort creature. Creature of comfort.
I like comfort creature.
I'm a comfort creature.
I feel like everyone listening was like, oh my God, same. If you were a comfort creature, then Rothy's are the shoe for you. I'm still waiting for the men's line to come out.
Someday, Nick.
I just want to be able to throw my shoes in the washing machine like you can. And just also know that they are made from recyclable plastic.
Yeah, saving water bottles from the landfill.
They have all these fancy designs. You come in, you're wearing a Rothy's. I'm like, ooh.
There's literally not one time I've worn them where someone hasn't stopped me and said, "Are those Rothy's?"
I believe that. I'm not with you most of the time, but I believe that. I have seen you I've seen you complimented for them.
Thank you. That wasn't a compliment.
I also compliment you for them, but like I've also seen
I said thank you like that was a compliment.
Anyways, check out all the amazing styles available right now and give the gift of comfort, style, and sustainability by going to rothys.com/VIALL. That's rothys.com/VIALL. Hunt a killer. People ask me what I do for a living, and I now just tell them I'm a crime fighter.
Who asked you, number one? Oh, you mean what? How do you make
your
money?
So what do you do for work? And I'm just like, I'm a crime fighter. And they're like, well, what do you mean? I've been like playing Hunt a Killer, and I feel like a true life detective.
It's true.
It's incredible. It's a lot of fun. I feel if you want to kind of exercise that brain and get into like, if you want to play detective, if you've ever liked CSI, if you ever liked all these other shows out there, Criminal Minds,
Making a Murder podcast.
If you ever want to feel like I could solve this problem, I could solve this case, Hunt a Killer is the game for you.
Especially if you're getting together with family, friends,
Family,
it's holiday
friends.
season, you want something fun to do.
You're kind of sick of your girlfriend after 4 months or boyfriend. You're like, what do we do now? What do we talk about? Just play Hunt a Killer together.
Yeah. So basically, it's a box that they send you every month, and it's filled with real things that you can pick through, like maps and audio files.
Clues.
So it's like the real thing.
Yeah.
You're not just like, it's not just like a board game.
Yeah, no, you get like it's hard. Yes, that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
It's even better when you get it.
Yeah.
You feel like it's like a real case that you have to work.
Yeah. And just to let you guys know, they donate proceeds for every box sold to the Cold Case Foundation, which helps with real life cold cases. So they're doing good too.
That was amazing. Right now, just for our listeners, you can go to huntakiller.com and use promo code VIALL for 20% off your first box. Then they even have gift cards for all your holiday shopping. Not to mention, they are throwing in exclusive bundles for the holiday season. So make sure to use promo code VIALL at huntakiller.com for a 20% discount. And to show your support for the show, huntakiller.com, promo code VIALL. How's it going?
Hey, I'm Kate. I'm 22. How are you?
I'm good, Kate. Thanks for asking. How can we help?
So, I have a really, really good friend.
Mm-hmm.
I would say he's one of my best friends. And I'm starting to wonder if I possibly, maybe, potentially have feelings for him.
Why? What's changed?
I don't know what's changed. I've known him for a couple years. But recently, like, I've been dating around and I find that every time I'm on these dates or with these guys, I wish I was talking to him instead.
Okay.
So.
Have you broached this subject with him?
No.
At all?
No. That's something that he and I just don't talk about relationships with each other. That's never been a topic that we've touched. And I don't know the reasoning behind that.
Is he single? Is he dating someone?
No, he's single.
Has he talked to you about other women?
Maybe when we first met, like barely. Like it would come up in passing, but that was back when we first met. And now it's just a really, really solid friendship. We talk every day, all day.
We've never. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But we've never actually broached the topic of like people that we're interested in right now. Is your
question kind of like, what should I do? Should I take a leave?
Yeah.
Or,
I'm like petrified of ruining this friendship. I don't know if either of you have ever been in a situation like this. Like I value this friendship so much, but at the same time, I can't date other people because I can't get them out of my mind.
Well,
one thing I thought was interesting in your email is that you said, this, I'll just read it. Without sounding super conceited, this is something my friends have told me, not that I think it of myself. Is it possible that as a woman in engineering, a varsity track athlete, and ambitious career goals, that guys may be intimidated? And he thinks that I would never be interested in him because I never talk about guys around him. I thought that was kind of an interesting subject.
This guy said this to you?
No. Other friends have.
Her friends have said she might be intimidating to guys.
Your other female friends?
Yes.
And I do think I've heard that a lot of women thinking they are intimidating.
I've certainly heard that a lot. That
Yes.
Women think that.
Yes.
I just don't think that's generally the case. I do think different men are attracted to different types of women, so there might be sometime you might feel like misunderstood, as a woman in a very male dominated industry or as a woman who's an athlete, men might correctly or incorrectly perceive you to be less demure or less ladylike. That may or may not be true. Right. And so that you might face some like unfair perceptions, and maybe you are like not as dainty or as other women, and some guys are into not, right? So I think it's more a preference, not necessarily intimidation.
Do you think that would be a reason a guy wouldn't date someone?
I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I've always been very attracted to motivated and intelligent women. I like uniqueness. So like a girl who was an engineer, the fact that she was an engineer, the job itself I would find to be neat. Now, I don't know what it's like to if I dated someone as analytical as me, I don't know. That itself could be an issue, but the idea wouldn't bother me.
What's funny, Unhinged, the question that Unhinged asks like these questions that you have to answer, and one of them is, I'm strangely attracted to, and they fill it in, and they always say intelligent women. I'm strangely attracted to intelligent women. I'm like, why is that strange?
I think that's probably a cultural thing, don't you think?
I guess, but
I think it's kind of a men. And I also sometimes think it's men thinking they're going to like sound woke, but also they end up
maybe
sounding
that's it.
shallow.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, you know what? I don't just want to have sex with the hot chick.
Yeah.
Or I'm not just physically attracted. I also respect your intelligence.
Right.
You know, like I think
Right.
they think this is an opportunity to sound like they're more open-minded, and it
Right.
kind of comes across as the opposite.
But you don't think because a woman is successful that that's like a reason why guys wouldn't like her?
Listen, I'm sure there are plenty of guys out there. We still have a long way to go despite our progress. I do think, some men might feel emasculated by a confident woman in the working world. I don't know. I can't speak for all men. That's certainly the case. I just also think in general, more often than not, when women friends tell their other women friends, oh, he's scared or he's intimidated, they're projecting like I find that women are really good at helping each other make excuses of, oh, guys, this might not be into you.
Yeah.
So just be careful that way. As far as this particular guy, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit on the other show. It's just like, you're going to just have to decide at some point. Is it really worth the risk? If you do have feelings for him, and I've said this before, then eventually this relationship is going to end. It's like he's going to meet some girl and she's going to sense that you're in love with them, and she's going to it's just going to be weird, right? Or eventually you will just get tired of having feelings for this guy you're not with. And, you're just going to get exhausted. That might be 3 or 5 years from now. It might be a year or 6 months. So I'm just of the opinion, if you truly think that you all have feelings for him, then go for it. And maybe at the flip side of that is, we talk about boredom a lot. Are you just kind of bored? Or have you convinced yourself you have feelings for him because you've been on a series of like not great dates, and he's like, you just enjoy his company? But what I'd ask you is, what stopped you from having feelings for him when you first met him? Why wasn't he a guy that you met and go, ooh, it's like, who's this guy? I'm curious about that. Because for me, and maybe this is a guy thing, I don't know, or maybe this is a me thing. To me, I pretty much know off the bat, like, am I excited? Like in terms of a potential partner versus like, what a neat person I enjoy spending time with. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and then I get to know them and like where there's a connection, and I just enjoy hanging out with them regardless of their gender. And so we become friends. And so I'm curious to you is why wasn't there an instant spark on your part that you think you feel now?
He was seeing somebody.
Oh, so you just didn't. Well, yeah, but people might be seeing all the time, and I think to myself, so when you found out he was seeing someone, were you immediately disappointed?
I wouldn't say disappointed. I just never considered it as an option.
That's hard for me to relate to, because if I met a girl and regardless of not knowing anything about them, I'd be like, oh, who's Becky? Oh, Becky has a boyfriend.
It was a very long-term relationship for him. It was never in the question.
I'm just saying, regardless, when you met him, when you meet anyone, especially of the opposite sex, you have an immediate reaction, whatever that might be. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, when they meet someone, and it might just be like, ooh, who is this person? I don't know. You're just often it's a physical attraction of being like, ooh. And then you learn a little bit about, and you're just kind of like, damn it, and there's that immediate disappointment. And then, or not, or they're single and you're like, you kind of figure it out. And I guess what I'm saying is, if you really have feelings for him, eventually you're going to have to shoot your shot. But the only thing to be mindful of is really kind of suss out, are you just bored? Is it there? Are you getting discouraged about your dating life in general, and therefore he's just conveniently there? And not that you don't value him and he isn't a great guy, but I'm curious as to what's changed other than, I get that you think about him. So I don't really have an answer why. Only you can answer that question in terms of your feelings. But let
me pivot my question then and say, if I were to broach a topic with him, is there a way I can do it without, if the answer is no, without like completely ruining the friendship?
Yes.
Maybe. I don't.
I've asked a lot of my guy friends out and they've said no, and a lot of my friends have asked me out and I've said no, and we're all still friends. We are.
So could you give?
It's just how you react. It's how you react. If he rejects you, if you're just like, oh, cool, I just had to shoot my shot, If you're very, very chill after they reject you, it's like, fine.
Yes. It's kind of on you, to Rochelle's point. Like, there's no magic word of how you ask. It's how you respond if you don't get the answer you want.
Yeah.
And you and if you have to take a time out a few days away and avoid the awkwardness, because the more you make it awkward, they'll feel guilty and weird. But if you can be chill and accept it and then move on and you act the same way you did before, then yes, then you have a shot. And most likely he will. I mean, listen, I've had female friends that are platonic and they didn't necessarily like put themselves out there, but there was a thought of like, God, why haven't we stopped hanging out? And there's been sadness and disappointment on my part. My point is he must value your friendship, right? So he's not going to want to lose you as a friend. It's only going to happen if he gets past it. So I agree with Rochelle. Like, I can get past it if with my female friends, because I never wanted to have sex with them in the first place. Right. So as long as they like can be cool, I can be cool too. But sometimes they can't be cool. Right. So it's really on you.
Okay,
go for it.
Yeah, it sounds like you want to go for it. You're smiling when you think about it.
Nonstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just and while there's no magic thing you can say, the chiller you can be.
Oh yeah.
Even when you ask the question.
No big deal.
Confident, but just be like, I'm gonna be honest, and just put it out there, man.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. Just kind of rip that Band-Aid off and kind of be like, listen, if you don't, that's fine. But.
Give us an update when
I am curious.
Will you?
For sure.
Okay, just
maybe.
All right.
Maybe.
All right, have a good day, guys.
Thanks for calling. Best of luck.
I like when you came up with your theoretical girl crush. Her name is Becky.
Sounded fun. You don't see a lot of Becky.
Becky's usually the bad one. Becky with the good hair. She's a Becky.
Becky, like bad one, like a Chad as a guy.
Yeah.
Have you ever met a Chad that's not just a dick?
I met some hot Chads.
Oh, I'm not saying Chads aren't hot. They're just assholes.
I met some dumb Chads.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Hot and dumb.
I mean, the constant crossing that ladder.
Oh man,
taking the leap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you eventually just have to. I feel like you eventually have to take the leap, but you should always wonder if you really want to. I do think sometimes people get bored.
Oh.
That's why I'm just curious. And again, everyone's different. Everyone falls for people differently.
You think they just destroy their friendship because of boredom?
No, I'm just thinking, okay, two people start being friends. And let's say in a fictitious scenario, it is a mutually platonic friendship. There's no like one person's accepted that the other person has a girlfriend, whatever. Yeah. They're just true good friends. Yeah. I'm always curious and then one person develops feelings. I'm curious why didn't that happen in the first place? And so, I think
some people are diamonds in the rough.
Maybe. I'm not saying it's not possible, but we always talk. I mean, shit, this entire show is about people being discouraged about dating. And so when you get discouraged about dating, it's kind of easy to be like, well, fuck, you're here.
But I don't see what's so bad about that.
No, I'm not saying it is bad, but we always do things we wouldn't normally do when we're bored. Oh yeah. Or we don't get discouraged. And I sometimes wonder, what would you do if if the guy you liked 3 weeks ago liked you back?
Yeah.
I think it's worth asking yourself the question before you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
But she seems obviously very excited about him.
Oh my God. She could not stop smiling.
Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness. But that thing about he's just intimidated by me. I don't think that's true.
It's not.
Let's stop saying that.
Let's stop making excuses for why some people might not be into you.
Yeah. It's not because you're too great.
It's not, or he's not scared. He's not scared. He's not scared at all.
You're not too perfect for him to handle.
You're not too strong or independent. I mean, you are maybe strong and independent, but nah. How's it going?
Hey, I'm McKenna,
I'm
23.
Kind of 23.
How are you?
Really good. Thanks for asking. How are you, Rochelle?
Me?
Yeah,
Oh, good.
great. Everyone's great. How can we help, McKenna?
So I kind of have two problems. My first problem is a little bit more like overarching with my relationships. And then my second problem is more like what's happening today.
Let's
So I feel
start
like
with
maybe
the
I should
second.
start with the second. Okay.
Yeah.
So my second problem is that I matched with this guy on Tinder about, I don't know, a month and a half ago.
Okay.
And he's this gorgeous French model.
France.
And we've been dating for about a month and a half now. But the problem is that he's moving back to France next month. So
Okay.
it's kind of hard because we both have expressed like deep feelings,
Mhm.
but he doesn't want to really take things like to a serious level because he's leaving. So
Yeah,
Makes sense.
makes sense.
yeah, obviously, but I guess I'm just really scared because first of all, he's the most attractive person I've ever been with, and I don't really want to like lose that. But also, I'm scared to lose him because I feel like maybe it could be like a cover up that's kind of like covering up the fact that I'm hurt from like my past relationships, and it's like a nice little distraction right now. So
Okay.
yeah.
Well, that's honest in terms of what's going on here. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong. It sounds like ever since you met
French guy.
French hottie, it's all been
Yeah.
very exciting. You know,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the fact that you met,
Is his name Jacques?
yeah, whatever.
What's his name?
It's not Jacques.
But he has a strong French sexy accent.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and he walked in Paris Fashion Week, so like he's not like
Oh.
He's
Yeah,
very
like a
suave
pretty-
and calm. Yes, this is very exciting. You
yeah. It's
You know,
like it's
someone-
like on another level that I've never really experienced. before.
someone walked up to
Physically.
you and gave you a keys to a Ferarari and said, "Oh, you can drive it for a while." You know,
Not forever.
not forever, but I'm not using it right now.
Wait,
Yeah.
but is he good in bed or just hot? Because that's a common problem.
Okay. So Rochelle, that's also my other problem is that like at first he wanted to have sex and I was like not really about it because I do that with people that I'm serious about, whatever. So I shut it down and then we got to know each other more and then I wanted to, but then he's shutting me down now. Like I
Oh,
care
you've
about
never
you too
done
much
it.
and I'm leaving. So,
so have you had sex with him?
we've had sex like once, but it did not last long because he freaked out.
Oh.
And he's only had sex with one other girl, so he's also kind of like freaked out about it.
How old is Frenchie?
He's 21,
Okay.
so he's younger than me.
No, I know. I can do math.
Oh, no.
So,
It's
like,
a
now
Ferrari
I'm
that
at the point
doesn't
where I
drive
will
very
say,
well.
He won't.
And you've been hurt before in past relationships, yes?
Yeah, that's kind of going into like my overarching problem is that I've like for the last 6 years I've been in 3 2-year relationships that have all ended like within a month of the second anniversary. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm like unlovable past 2 years. But besides that, all of them started as kind of a rebound. So I'm like, this French guy, I feel like I want to take it to the next level, maybe because that's like a pattern that I've had in the past.
Yeah, you're a monkey swinging from one vine to another.
I know.
You're 23. You've had 3 2-year relationships. That puts you at like 16. Since you've been like, you have no business having that many boyfriends for that much of your life as a 23-year-old. I mean, you know, and you're hanging on to baggage that you had as like a 16, 17-year-old. I mean, God, I mean, no doubt that when you connect with someone that young, those feelings are very real and genuine. But at the same time, it's certainly not like a relationship you should do much comparing to. You know, other than the fact that those feelings, I'm no doubt feel very real and are real. But don't hang on to the baggage of like two like newbies not knowing what the fuck they're doing, trying to figure out life at the same time dating, and then and anyway, hang on to that baggage. You clearly need some time maybe for yourself, and you're so used, and here you are, at 23, and again, probably feel like this is when I planned on settling down, and you have all these built-in expectations, and you've been trying to literally probably find a life partner since you were a teenager. So yes, it's good that you seem to be aware that maybe there's an issue there. There's nothing wrong with this French hottie fun thing you're doing.
Yeah.
But be realistic about it. It seems like he is.
Like in my head, I'm like, will I ever find another 10 again? Will I?
Listen, the 10s are usually not good in bed. I'm going to come out and say that. They've had an easy life. They're used to everyone doing things for them. They're not. You'll learn this.
I'm making this all about me right now, and wondering, does Michelle think I'm not a physical 10, or therefore can she just assuming I'm bad in bed? I'm just making this about me.
I love that you're like, I'm obviously a 10.
No, I'm just wondering. I'm being narcissistic.
Oh god.
I think there's certainly some truth to that. Yes, there's
a lot of truth.
I've met a lot of, even like, I haven't slept with any men, but I've met a lot of good-looking guys. I mean, going on The Bachelorette for the first time was my really kind of awareness of meeting all these seemingly attractive guys and then having a conversation with them and being like, yeah, you're not a threat at all. Just like they're weird or kind of awkward or they're not charming. To Rochelle's point, a pretty guy is,
fun to look at.
And maybe you'll get lucky with, he's also charming and good at bed, but don't stick it out with a guy. He's just fun to look at. Also, there's plenty of model dudes. You're a beautiful
gorgeous
woman. You're a beautiful woman. Yeah, you are only 23. And to Rochelle's point, you definitely, as you get older, and assuming you don't end up with Frenchie, that you're going to look back and kind of laugh at this deep fear and desire that you both have of like maintaining this. God, I mean, even like a Ferrari, if we're going to use the car metaphor.
Yeah.
Ferraris are fun for a while, but then they just become really impractical and inconvenient, especially like if you live in a city. It's just like, oh, God.
Maybe that Honda Civic, you'd enjoy it more.
Yeah, it's a way more of a comfortable ride, So, yeah, as far as what you can do in this moment, clearly you've made him feel a lot of pressure. And the fact that if he's like just guilt, and he's young, he's inexperienced, and he's just probably in some ways intimidated by you. You're older. I mean, dating at 21, if I were dating a 23-year-old woman, would be intimidating.
Who's had serious boyfriends?
Yeah, he's had serious boyfriends, and so he's just like, I don't know. Just seems a little. If you just want to have fun with the Ferrari and take it for a spin, just have some fun. And if you don't,
like, I should tell you. So last week, we were like in his car fooling around or whatever. And I just like went out and said like, I love you first.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I know. It was really scary because I was like, I don't even know if he and then he said it back. And after that, he's been like pushing me away, which is super confusing because I'm like, all right, if we both feel that,
it's
then.
Not that confusing. I mean, again, I'm not saying he doesn't love you or not, but it wouldn't be shocking to me if you said I love you, and in the moment, it just felt like the easiest thing to say back. And I don't doubt he likes you, and he's not into you, and he's probably also caught up in the moment of just meeting this hot American woman who's 2 years older than him, and he's just like, it's fun, but he might be but my point is, I think you've applied way too much pressure on this kid. You're getting caught up in this kind of love affair, and instead of being practical about what it is, the fact that he lives in France, and it's just, probably highly unlikely that this is going to work out. And if it did, being, again, more casual about it and saying, listen, you're really great and this is probably not going to work out, and accepting that, like, if it were to work out, you guys are going to have to, like, it's going to be a different thing. Not falling in love with them and having a Romeo and Juliet love affair. I mean, minus like the death at the end, but like this kind of throwing caution to the wind. It sounds exciting. It's fun to think about, but I think you're trying to have this kind of rom-com relationship, and it's not very practical. Meanwhile, you're probably kind of wrecking this thing that you have with them by applying so much pressure to something that should just be like a fun love affair that you think back and think that was really fun.
Yeah. So what do I do now? Do I
when is he moving?
Communicating with him
When is he
altogether?
moving? When is he moving?
Next month.
I mean,
Stop saying I love you.
stop saying I love you.
Okay.
You know, just be like, you know what? You should say, listen, I'm not saying I didn't mean what I said, but obviously we got caught up in the moment. And I know this much. What I want to do with you is enjoy you for the time that we have. And let's just have fun. And whatever that means. Maybe it's going to the movies. Maybe it means getting physical. But like, let's just enjoy the time we have together. And we'll worry about the future when the future comes. But I don't want to stress out about this thing and build it up into something that it's not. And then you're going to spend 3 months, like, you know, being stressed out about something that we all know how this is going to end. It's going to end with him moving home.
Yeah.
Right? You know the ending. You know, if there's a part 2, then who knows? Sometimes when they make movies, we don't know they're going to make a sequel until a couple years later, you know? So right now, just know that this movie's going to end. And so...
And you're going to be alone for a little bit, and you got to be okay with that.
Yeah, when he does move, be fucking single for a hot second.
I'll try it out. I don't really know what that's like, but...
I know. I can tell. And you know, you're a pretty girl, and you know, it's probably not hard for you to find guys who are attracted to you, especially the early attraction. And you have this built-in expectation of always being good enough to always have someone. But like, because everyone's human, after a while, people get sick of everyone's bullshit and they break up. I mean, and thank God you broke up with your first and second boyfriend. I mean, I'm sorry if it hurt, but like, you want to be married at, you know, like right now? I don't know. Maybe you do. And I don't want to knock anyone who got married at 22, but also.
Yeah, if you had been married, you would never have gotten to caress that chiseled jawline.
Right? Thank you very much, Rochelle. That's great. You know, you'd have been stuck driving a minivan. This Ferrari would have driven by. I'm like, oh, that would have been fun. And now you know, and that's, I think, a good lesson to learn is that like sometimes being single opens doors for fun experience that you can look back and have fun. And when the time comes for you to be in a relationship, hopefully you'll have had these experiences so you can really appreciate the relationship you're in and be in the moment. But you're trying to kind of do 2 things at once. And I think you just need to chill out a little bit and don't always be a slave to the moment. You know, try to have some perspective about being practical, and just enjoying the time that you have. Because I mean, I don't want to tease, but let's think about how cliche this kind of story is, and it's fun. Man, how awesome for you to have this experience, right? Like, this is fun. You're going to tell this story years from now, and that's great, and that's part of life. But like, falling in love with the French guy, and you know, we're in love, and so he's just not going to move, and you know, like, come on.
I know my friends joke. They're like, how many people can say they've French kissed a French guy? I'm like, that's fair.
I mean, more than you think, but millions.
Six packs, though, they don't keep you warm at night, you know?
They can. Why are we hating on 6-packs?
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. Yes.
You'll have plenty of hotties.
Yes, and you're like, he won't be the only hot guy you date.
Yeah, definitely not.
And you may not want to end up with the hottest guy you've ever dated.
Yeah.
To Rochelle's point, you know? Looks do fade.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Some less than others.
I mean, not mine, but I'm just kidding.
God.
I was just really being vain right now. You're going to be fine. Don't waste the last month and a half or whatever it is you have with this guy trying to marry him. Have some fun. Whatever that may be, because right now you're missing out on just an enjoyable time and some maybe potentially good memories.
Okay.
And then when he does leave, just be alone for like 6 months at least.
That sounds so sad.
It's not sad.
Not sad.
It's
not sad.
It's not sad, and you will be thankful you did, and you'll have more fun experiences.
Okay.
All right.
Get to know some people. You know, when you have this urge to say I love you to someone, just keep it to yourself and get to know them. Yeah, I mean, listen,
Seriously.
like it's an excitement and infatuation. You don't know this person, you don't know Frenchie. You love being around them, and for the first, just love will evolve for you. So let it evolve.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Enjoy it while you have it.
I will.
All right. Bye.
Thanks.
Hard to, those are always, it's hard not to sound condescending or like a know-it-all or whatever. I am currently reading Gary's book in preparation for him being on the show. It's very good. And he just tells these stories about life, and a lot of them are anecdotal and funny, but a lot of it is just like perspective of like how it opens with, just like he wanted to do the Peace Corps. And I was at like 22.
Yeah.
And he didn't do it because it was like, well, it was a 2-year commitment.
Oh, I know.
And I was like, I can't.
Law
2 years.
school, I was like, 3 years.
I can't. 2 years. I can't do that. That's my entire life. And I remember that feeling.
Yeah.
We all do. And then he talks about how 2 years went by like that. And he thought to myself, I've literally done nothing. I could have just been in the Peace Corps.
Yeah.
Oh, I only bring that up because it's just like, you won't realize that until later on. And so, it's great if you're in a relationship, and when you're not, it can be equally great because you can experience other things.
Yeah. I dated this guy who was the hottest guy in my college. Then when I moved out here, we started like dating, and I was like freaking out the whole time. I'm like, this is the hottest guy. This is the hottest guy I'll ever like get. And I was like, and he treated me so bad. But I was like, but he's the hottest guy. And looking back, I'm like, yeah, what an idiot.
You really you kind of admitted to yourself and everyone I don't care. He's hot.
I was like, look at him.
I don't care.
He couldn't have been worse to me.
Was he that hot looking back?
I mean, now that I've lived in LA, you're like every other person is like the hottest guy you've ever seen.
What I'm saying is you clearly met him, thought he was hot when you first met him, and then he only got hotter in your head by kind of being not having him, and then you got him, and it was just like
he stayed hot.
Okay.
He didn't disappoint.
No, I'm not saying I'm sure he was attractive, but you talk about him as if in the moment you were like,
well, now
godlike.
I would be like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It was just
exactly.
Sure, he was hot,
yeah,
but not so much that he could be kind of infallible from being like a terrible partner.
Yeah.
But that just kind of comes with time.
It really does.
Often when we're younger, we have this fear of things not happening again or missing out or whatever. And then we end up and we only to come that if you just are open to life, it'll all kind of happen.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware of being the cliche.
Hi, I'm Kristen, and I'm 30.
Kristen, who's 30? So nice for you to call in. Oh, wonderful. I'm Nick. This is Rochelle. How can we help?
Hi, guys.
Hi. What's your question?
Yeah, what's your question, Kristen?
So thanks for having me on. So I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of context first, really quickly, and then jump into my question, if that works.
Wonderful.
So basically, my question is around my current relationship and my relationship with one of my best friends. So currently, I've been with my boyfriend since last April, so about a year and a half. We have a really great relationship. It's semi-long distance because he lives about an hour-ish away from me. So we kind of do the back and forth thing every weekend.
Okay.
My family loves him. My friends love him. We've had a really great relationship so far. So I have this one friend who I've been super close with over the last 5 years. I've known her forever. And she's made since the beginning, little comments, little digs here and there. But I always thought maybe I'm just being too oversensitive.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just in my head. But then this past summer, I threw a 30th birthday for him. All of his friends and his family and my friends and family came, and it was an awesome time. And I was super excited about it. And then the next day I found out, I was talking to my sister, and she said, "Hey, what was going on with so-and-so?" And I said, "I don't know. What are you talking about?" And so she said, she came up to me at the party, and, she was saying all these things and, asking, are you making the right choice with him? Like, are comparing him to like other situations I've been in, and just like all this inappropriate stuff that probably shouldn't have been said at his birthday. So my sister was very taken aback. Didn't really confront it at the time, but then confronted her a couple days later over text, just saying, I was kind of shocked. We all love him. Not sure where this came from. Like, just want you to know, like, this would be really hurtful to Kristen if she knew. So she came back and said, really appreciate you reaching out. Didn't really own that it was inappropriate, and just said, I'm just being a protective friend. So didn't really like apologize or anything like that. So my question is kind of, since then I've had this weird kind of tension with her. We don't really talk as regularly. And I'm wondering, is it a lost cause at this point, or do you have any advice moving forward?
Sure. And this friend, she's married. Yes?
Yes, she is. Yeah. Got married last year.
Just got married last year. What do you think of her husband?
I like him a lot. We've been really close. I was super close with them prior to them getting married, and then like throughout their relationship, we spent a ton of time together.
And they seemingly have a healthy and happy relationship?
I think so, as far as I know.
Okay. Has she always been a bit of a judgy person?
Kind of.
Okay.
I would say so.
Yeah, I mean, and she was like your best friend forever. You guys were always close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you grown slowly apart over time? Is this like, or is this out of nowhere?
I think over the past year, because I've been kind of in between, different cities, essentially, it's been harder to make time, but also at the same time, with her being married and having, other things going on too, it's been harder for us to connect.
Sure. And then, it sounds like you're very happy with your boyfriend. What are some of I just out of curiosity, what are some of the things that she complained about?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is just like the distance between us. So he lives in kind of a more, country area, and I live, closer to the city.
And she has a problem with that, but you don't?
I don't really, because it's, it's not that far, and city versus like suburbs isn't like a big deal to me.
I guess question without maybe too specific, is there anything about what she said, minus the fact that it hurt that she said it at his birthday, or that she said it behind your back? Is there anything specific that she said about your relationship with him that resonated with you, or that you were, in fact, even though you might think he's a great guy, you agreed with? Or is she completely just off base? Like
it just seemed really off base, okay, without like knowing or being as close to our relationship as like I would assume she would want to be. And I think it's just one of those things where like we had talked for years about, living in the same city, being around and kind of doing everything together. And now that that's not how it's necessarily working out right now. Yeah, if maybe it's coming from there.
Yeah, I mean, so I just want to ask all these questions because I don't really know. Sometimes people have a way of projecting. Like my first thought was maybe she, like, who knows? She just got married and maybe she's kind of slightly regretting it. So she's projecting that onto you about like maybe you being
right.
In a relationship. She could just be kind of one of those nosy, bored people, know-it-alls who like think she's justified for saying it, and a bit of a gossipy. That could be the possibility. Or again, my other thought was, who knows? Maybe there's some things going on in this relationship that she actually is recognizing, and it's just hard to hear on your part. But it sounds like maybe she is just off base here. And if that is the case, I think you need to, your sister said something to her, right? And she acknowledged it, but you need to really sit down and talk to her. And I think you should say, hey, listen, I really appreciate you as a friend. And so as a friend, I value the fact that great friends will sometimes tell you the things that you don't necessarily want to hear. That being said, like, it's not appropriate for you to ever talk about me or my relationship or him behind our backs, especially at a birthday party and gossiping to my sister about a relationship. If you have a problem with what I'm doing as a friend, I want you to come to me because that's what being a friend is. I just need you to know that I am super happy in my relationship. I recognize that long distance isn't necessarily ideal, but I'm comfortable with our current situation. And while, like, if he ends up being my forever guy, we recognize that things will eventually have to change. But I'm really happy with him. I think he's a great guy. He makes me happy, and that's what's most important. So I hope that you can recognize that, because I feel like ever since then we've grown apart. I think you need to have this conversation with her, and you need to let her know to have a, because going behind your back feels like she was dishonest. That's not honest. That's not being a friend. Well, I was just trying to be a friend. But well, no, you were talking shit about my boyfriend at his birthday party, even if it was to my sister. That's not a friend being a constructive friend. Sitting you down at a cup of coffee and saying, hey, listen, this might seem really awkward, but I just want to be honest. And that, even if she's way off base there, at least she has the best intentions of trying to do it in a productive way, so that if she is right, or she strikes a nerve with you, you can talk about it. But this gossipy approach is that's not being a friend. And I think it's safe. I think it's okay for you to point that out. And it's okay for in the future, if she has an issue, to come to you first in an environment that's not making you feel like you're stabbing me or my boyfriend behind the back, because that just seems wrong, and I'm not okay with that. And if she can't recognize that, then that's not okay, because she is making this excuse. Well, I was just trying to be a friend, and I was just trying to look out for you. Fine, if she wants to do that, but not in that way. And you can point out there's a right and a wrong way of doing that, and that is not, in fact, not being a friend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. But kind of two follow-ups off that. So one, what is your perspective on the fact that it's been a couple months now? Will this, I feel like I should have probably had this conversation sooner. Will it have the same kind of impact, you think? And two, what if she doesn't own it, like I said, and kind of give me that apology that I feel like I've been looking for?
Well, that's up for you. Do I think it's too late? No. I mean, again, if this is someone who's been a lifelong friend, an awkward situation that's kind of gone on too long, for 3 months isn't the end of there's no kind of statute limitations on addressing something that bothers you, right?
Right.
There really isn't. It's only been a few months. If you don't get the response that you think you deserve, and then at that point, you have to evaluate how much of friends grow apart. If she really, if you point out the fact that it was inappropriate for her to talk behind your and his back about your relationship to your sister without coming to you, and she can't acknowledge that, regardless of what she thinks is wrong, that's a concern. That's not a friend. That means that she feels justified of being a gossip and talking behind your back. And if that is the case, then that's probably, I wouldn't trust that person. To me, that's not a friend. And so friends come and go. Sometimes people do change. Sometimes we're friends with people because we've always been friends with them, but they have stopped being actual friends in the future. And sometimes you have to cut your losses. She might have been a great friend, and that might have been, having a great single friend is great because you're friends simply because it's fun to go out. You enjoy going to the same places. You like the same movies. You dated the friends of who are guys that was convenient to hang out with. But sometimes that changes in a relationship because they kind of handle it differently. Now she has to be the real friend, the supportive friend, where it's just about having your back and communicating with you and supporting you in things that she doesn't always agree with, but there's nothing unhealthy about what you're doing, right? That's being a friend in kind of an adult relationship, when you're not being a friend is more than just partying together and having fun. So start there and let her, you don't know, stop thinking about what decision you have to make because of her answer. Reevaluate at that point, but don't be friends with someone who isn't being a friend. And that can be tough.
That's so hard.
Yeah. But people break up, relationships end, and not just romantic ones too. And you can have toxic friendships just like you can have toxic relationships. So, right now you're just kind of letting this thing fester and it's bugging you. And, the only thing, it sounds like maybe you feel like she's not going to give you the answer you want, but
Yeah.
and if that's the case, maybe you kind of already know, but at the same time, sometimes you really have to point out what's going on, because right now your sister said, I don't think that's okay. Thanks for acknowledging, but she thinks she's justified because maybe she did have the best intentions, but no one, it sounds like, has pointed out that how she went about it was the thing that bothered you the most.
Yes, that's what it was.
And that
Right.
she can't really justify. She can have she can have concerns for your well-being, and you can say, well, I'm actually happy. And you could say this all could have been resolved if you would have spoke to me directly. But it was really hurtful, inappropriate, and for you to do what you did and how you went about it. And that I don't want that. I don't want you to do that, because friends come to each other head on. They don't gossip behind their backs.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, that makes total sense.
I would do that, and I would definitely address it and call her right now and be like, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee.
Yeah, right now.
I would do it in person. Yeah. I would have that conversation.
For sure.
I definitely wouldn't do over text. If you can't have it in person, FaceTime. If you can't FaceTime, call. Definitely don't text. Ideally, get a cup of coffee and catch up. And even if you don't say, oh, I do something I need to talk to you about if you do decide to get together. But be direct and be honest. And think of it just like a romantic relationship. It's a relationship that is not currently healthy and you're not feeling heard. So be heard,
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's really helpful.
All right. Well,
thank you, guys.
Best of luck with your relationship, both the boyfriend and the long-term friend.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.
It sounds like she knows.
We always know.
Sounds like she knows it. Right? Isn't that the sense you got? That she thinks this friend's is kind of...
Yeah. Talking out of school.
That happens. Sometimes you're just like, I don't really know if I like you anymore.
This isn't adding to my life.
Yeah. People fall out of love with friends too.
It's so hard though. I hate it. I wish everybody could stay in your life forever.
Isn't that the dream?
Never have to break up.
People often make excuses for their actions by justifying, oh, well, I thought I was being a good friend. It's like how you go about it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm a huge believer in a real friend is sometimes telling friends what they don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I'm a huge believer.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what this is.
That's just someone being shitty.
That's someone just being gossipy.
Yeah.
And she might just have done it wrong. She might sit down and be like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I'm sorry. I should have never done that.
Right.
And you know what? I was wrong and I won't do that again.
Yeah.
And then great.
Fingers crossed.
We can reconnect. But until she points out the thing that was wrong, she's just going to get defensive and make excuses for her actions.
And don't talk to someone because you're afraid of how they're going to react. Like you can't control that.
No, but people are totally afraid of confrontation. I mean,